I'm a storyteller, and a story I want to share this afternoon is a story about my people. As a Pacific Islander, as a Hawaiian, and as an explorer, it's a story about an intrepid band of canoe-born explorers, men and women, who leave the safety and comfort of distant shores, and by doing so, discover the stars. Okay, so here's a lecture part of the presentation. Beginning about 5,000 years ago, this band of seagoing explorers leave island Southeast Asia, the South China Sea and Taiwan, and they push east into the face of the prevailing trade winds. They are from a seagoing trading culture. They carry their food in clay pots, and they're descendants of the Austronesian language family. Now we understand and know intimately the direction they traveled in because of all the broken clay pots they left behind. There's a trail of them east into the Pacific. So they moved very quickly through island Indonesia and the New Hebrides and Papua New Guinea, and then they finally arrive at the shores of the Solomon Islands. And it's undiscovered, virgin territory, brand new lands, and then they rationalize. If they keep on sailing in the direction of the prevailing trade winds, they're going to find more and more uninhabited islands. So they finally arrive in Tonga and Samoa, and over the course of 1,000 years, they develop all the traits that is characteristically distinguishes the Polynesian culture. Tonga and Samoa becomes the gateway into the Polynesian Triangle. Then beginning 2,000 years ago, they push into central Polynesia, discovering Tahiti and the Marquesas, and finally, only 1,000 years ago, they arrive here in Hawaii, in the north of the Polynesian Triangle, Rapa Nui in the southeast, and Aotearoa in the southwest. The range that these Polynesians had was vast. They got as far as the coast of South America. Why? Because the Polynesian sweet potato, duala, has its roots in South America. So they went there, they got the sweet potato, they brought it back to central Polynesia. And then they also got as far west as Madagascar, off the coast of Eastern Africa. But the one thing they possess that enabled them to settle the vast Pacific Ocean is canoe technology. Canoe technology. The sailing canoe, their seafaring skills, and their ability to survive on the ocean through all kinds of harsh conditions allowed them to settle the vast expanses of the Polynesian Triangle. Now, we have mythology and traditions that talk about the epic saga of the voyaging chiefs, Moikea and Olopana and Kahai and Kia and La'amai Kahiki. But were these just mythology, or were they accurate traditions of events from our past? Today we have incontrovertible evidence that there was contact between the vast archipelagos from an artifact that was found here on Napuka Atoll of a Hawaiian stone artifact that was transported 2,400 miles across the ocean and ended up here in Napuka Atoll. In the Tuamotu Archipelago, which is a belt of islands 200 miles north of Tahiti, two researchers decided to study stone adzes. Now they chose the Tuamotu Archipelago because the stone adzes are made out of basalt, and these are coral atolls, so they wanted to trace where the stone adzes originated from. They applied a scientific technique called plasma mass spectrometry, which can identify the chemical and mineralogical characteristics of the stone. So they studied one stone adze, catalog C7727, and what they found just blew their minds. This stone adze was transported from the island of Hōkūalaka'i. And in particular, they could identify the lava flow that the stone adze originated from. And this stone adze came from a lava field on the western corner of Hōkūalaka'i at a place close to the point called Ke'alai Kahiki, meaning the road to Tahiti. So some intrepid Hawaiian, long time ago, picked up this stone and took it all the way across the South Pacific. So we wanted to keep on learning just how did they voyage and how did they navigate. So in the 1970s, the Polynesian Voyaging Society built a design-accurate replica of a Polynesian voyaging canoe. And to that fact, they also wanted to learn how to navigate these canoes. So they invited a traditional non-instrument navigator, my teacher, Master Mau Piailag, from the tiny atoll of Sarawak. And in 1976, he successfully navigated Hōkūleʻa totally without instruments, using only natural means to guide the canoe, the sun, the moon, the stars, and the winds and the currents. In the later 1970s, this young Hawaiian, Nainoa Thompson, began tinkering with the idea of navigation. And so he began to re-engineer the art of navigation. He developed all kinds of neat techniques for navigation and wayfinding. And then he invited Mau to help come and round out his training. And in 1980, he successfully navigated Hōkūleʻa using this new hybrid system of navigation to Tahiti. And ever since 1980, the era of the modern day wayfinding movement has been born. Okay, this is where we get fun. The conceptual framework for navigation, and I'm going to turn my back to you guys, is a celestial star compass. Yeah? The circle represents the edge of the horizon, and you're positioned in the center of the circle. You got to close your eyes. Got to imagine you're on the ocean, all blue all around you. How can you distinguish one edge of the horizon from the other? Well, I was having a hard time with this concept because my brain is small. But so my teacher, Nainoa, understood my problems. And so, first of all, the compass is highly technical, but it's also highly metaphorical at the same time. So integrating into these two spheres of understanding was burdensome for me. So he took a cutout of a paper, a bird, and a canoe. And he held the bird out in front of me. And he said, the bird always has a relationship with the horizon. He flies within the circle of the horizon with the star field above his head. Yeah. If the head points in one direction to the edge of the compass, the tail points in the opposite direction. If the left wing points one way, the right wing points the other way. The bird always has a relationship with the rising and setting star field. See, the bird is never lost. Yeah? You know of a lost bird? Well, he then took the model of the canoe and he put the canoe on the bird and he said to me, the canoe is the bird. The canoe is a bird. And then I understood. You see, if the bow of the canoe is pointing in one direction, then the stern of the canoe is pointing in the opposite direction. You don't need to see a star that you're sailing towards if you know what star is supposed to be behind you. If you know what star is rising on your right and what star is setting on the left. Yeah. So the bird and the canoe has a relationship with the horizon. So the star compass works this way. Well, a magnetic compass works by orientating itself on magnetic north, and you can calibrate all the 360 degrees. We orientate our canoe on the rising and setting points of celestial bodies. Okay, we have two horizons only: the arriving horizon, which is Hikina, and the entering horizon, which is Komohana. To arrive in Hawaii means is Hikina. That's what it means, to arrive. Okay, that's east. Okay. So if I put east or Hikina to my back, then which way am I facing? I'm facing west, yeah? Or I'm facing the entering horizon. Komohana means to enter, okay? If I extend my right hand out from my body, the right hand side of my body is called Akau, but it also means north. If I extend my left hand out from my body, that is called Hema or south. So our compass works this way. Oh, those 4 cardinal points are called houses. We have 32 houses on the compass. Okay, and the rest of the houses are all have similar names. So on either side of east and either side of west, we have the house La, Aina, Noyo, Manu, Nalani, Naleo, Haka. So the east side of the compass reflects the west side of the compass. If a star was to arrive in the northern part of the compass, in the house we call Aina, it's going to move across the compass and it's going to exit on the opposite side of the compass in the same house it rose in, Aina. If a star was to arrive here in the house we call Manu, it's going to migrate across the compass and it's going to exit in Manu. But what about the wind and the waves? The wind and the waves move diagonally across the compass. So if they were to enter the compass, the wind or the wave was to enter the compass in the house we call Noyo, it's going to exit the compass. It's going to move through the canoe and exit the compass in the house we call Noyo in the opposite quadrant. Everything is related. Everything is related. The key to navigation is to maintain that relationship, the direction you're heading in, with the rising star field and the direction that the wind and the swells are blowing in. Now, the wind and the waves, they all come from the east. And the star field all arrive in the east. So everything generates from the east. This is a course line from Hawaii to Tahiti. So on the course from Hawaii to Tahiti, you just keep the rising bodies on the left side of the canoe, and the wind and the waves coming from the left side of the canoe, and the wind ought to be able to blow you to Tahiti. Then on the way back, yeah, easier said than done. Hey, we have always made landfall, never lost. On the way back to Hawaii, it's a little bit off the wind, but you're gonna have the wind coming from the right side of the canoe, the swells coming from the right side of the canoe, and the stars rising on the right side of the canoe and setting on the left side of the canoe. Then you're gonna get to someplace east of Hilo or east of Maui. You're gonna measure the star field, and then you're gonna let the wind blow you into the islands. So to measure the star field, everybody extend their hand, hold it out, yeah? Each finger is 2 degrees. Okay. We like to use the Southern Cross. Yeah. When you start out from Tahiti, and the distance between the top star and the bottom star is 6 degrees, so that's basically 3 fingers. Anyway, when you start out in Tahiti, the Southern Cross is about 45 degrees high in the sky. But every night as you sail over the curvature of the Earth, the Southern Cross gets lower and lower. When you get to a point where the top star and the bottom star is equal to the horizon, you're at the latitude of Hana Maui. Yeah. This is very unique. Yeah. So you measure the distance of the top star and the bottom star. When it's equal to the horizon, you're at the latitude of Hana Maui. So here's the Southern Cross. It's rising. It's rising. Now you're going to measure 3 fingers. And it's equal to the horizon. Yeah. You're at the latitude of about Hana Maui. Then you're going to turn your canoe downwind. You're going to have the wind blowing from the east. You're going to put your bow in Komohana. And as long as you keep your bow between the houses we call Aina, and Aina means what? Land. So as long as you keep your bow between the houses we call Aina, it ought to blow you towards the islands. So, and so I'd like to show you this trailer now of a pretty ambitious project that the Polynesian Voyaging Society is about to launch.
In mid-2013, the Polynesian Voyaging Society and the voyaging canoe Hōkūleʻa will embark on a journey around the world. A 46,000-mile, 36-month voyage to 21 countries with 65 currently planned landfalls. We sail for peace, for the love of our planet, and with the desire to leave the children of the world a hopeful, healthy future. To understand Hōkūleʻa is to go back in time to the origin of Polynesia itself.
It goes back 7,000 years ago, where the first really oceanic people came out of China and came out of Taiwan. 1,000 years after that, spreading through the Pacific Islands in Melanesia, even in Indonesia. Then you get to Polynesia. this oceanic country bounded by Hawaii in the north and New Zealand in the southwest and Rapa Nui in the east. 10 million square miles, 600 times more water than this land, biggest country on earth, bigger than Russia. And it was discovered by these extraordinary people. And I say extraordinary because you could argue that they were really the astronauts of our ancestors. They were the greatest explorers on the face of the earth.
Today, as we struggle with the depletion of natural resources, the degradation of our land, heavens and oceans, and conflicts that result from overconsumption, we believe that ancient wisdom can and will inspire contemporary solutions. Since her launching in 1975, Hōkūleʻa has sailed 135,000 nautical miles throughout Polynesia to Micronesia, Japan, and the west coast of the continental United States. What began as an effort to disprove critics who doubted Polynesians' ability to sail purposefully, unaided by navigational instruments, has grown into a cultural reawakening, a living commitment to sustainability, and a movement to bring experiential, value-based, community-grounded education to the forefront.
As the Hawaiian culture is re-emerging, rediscovering, re-strengthening, that's not a common story around the world. That is a story that is unique. There are cultures and languages that have been lost every single day across this planet. This voyage intentionally is supposed to honor, it's supposed to celebrate, and it's supposed to strengthen all cultures on the planet by respecting them.
Lehua Kamalu is one of the Polynesian Voyaging Society's emerging young navigators.
We wouldn't be here today if our ancestors didn't figure out how to live in balance with their environment and with these islands. There is a lesson in going back to traditional practices and finding some way of bridging the gap between what is modern and ancient and making life livable and healthy and safe.
Which one of these two?
Ka'iulani Murphy has been sailing on Hōkūleʻa since 1997 and is one of very few crew members who will sail the entire worldwide voyage.
This is a critical time for us. A lot of people are realizing that because of things that we've done to the planet, to our oceans, the land in the past, that just affects our ability to have oxygen to breathe. And so it's not limited to somebody in Hawaii. It affects everybody that breathes. Along with building better relationships with people around the world who have the same desire to take care of our planet, we're part of a movement to have leaders, peace leaders, really, with the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu, to recognize that there is something special about Hōkūleʻa, special to us, and I think it does bring that kind of worldwide attention that we're on the right path and we are something that can carry that message of peace around the world.
Investment is not an investment for a monetary reward at the end. You're not going to cash in on this and say, all right, now I have this much money. It's an investment in the earth. It's an investment in the future. It's an investment in keeping traditions and resources and knowledge and learning alive for the future generations.
If you come from the lens of what the canoe is supposed to do, it will do nothing if we're tied to the dock. We're not going to change the world, but we're going to go and build a network of people around the earth who are going to change it. And our job is to help them be successful.
Well, here's two fair winds at your back, and just remember, like the NG Polynesians that discovered these islands, that when you leave the safety of the shore, you discover the stars. Thank you.